Rises up, the shot, and it's good! It's good! Wisconsin has won!
That's not miss, bitch.
Brusewitz to midcourt. Rust has it, lets it go!
What the hell am I doing here?
By Taylor, the 20 to the 15, cuts inside 10, 5, touchdown, Wisconsin.
Welcome back to another episode of the Badger Notes After Dark podcast, part of the Big Banter Sports Network. I'm your host, Dylan Graff, co-founder of BadgerNotes.com. You can follow the podcast on YouTube at Badger Notes After Dark, or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you find your podcasts. Join with me, as always, by Brandon Cooper, Jason Long, and Ryan Ehlers. How we doing here, fellas?
Doing pretty good,
man. Feeling great.
I had pancakes for dinner. Couldn't be
Breakfast
happier.
for dinner always slaps.
A little brekkie for dinner?
Dude, you know, like when pancakes aren't something I eat often, but I went to Woodman's and I was just strolling the aisles, you know, as one does sometimes. And I saw the Mrs. Butterworth's pancake mix. I was like, man, fucking pancakes.
Are you a pancake orderer out at at a restaurant for breakfast or no?
See, I'm more of a French toast guy.
Okay, see, same, because I wouldn't make French toast at home very often, but I can make pancakes anytime. So I don't normally order pancakes. I'd get French toast for sure.
Yeah, I can't make French toast for shit. So if I'm out to breakfast, give me some cinnamon French toast.
Yeah,
two slices of bacon, turkey, glass of OJ.
We're officially a breakfast podcast.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But so I'm living large.
DFR, sponsored by DFR.
Lineman breakfast.
Some chicken fried steak.
Hell yeah.
Never
How
wrong.
are you doing? How are you doing? We never ask you.
We don't ever ask you.
Honestly, feeling pretty good. Badger squeaked one out tonight. No, we'll get to that later. But, yeah, feeling all right.
Shout out the person in the YouTube comments last week who said he can't believe, we need to give Dylan more credit because he can't believe he kind of keeps us all together. Because me more than anyone, as I've proven in the first 2 minutes of this recording, loves to go off the rails. But Dylan somehow always brings us back in. So shout out to you, Dylan.
Not even sure I do a good job of gluing this thing back together, but we always reach the end. This week we're gonna discuss Colin Hitschler unfortunately departing for Alabama. Badgers pick up 3 new recruits in the 2025 class. We're kind of breeze over Wisconsin taking down Indiana at home. Probably touch a little bit more in depth on the victory in the barn tonight. Squeak that one out. And, get into a new segment, start talking about our big dog of the week and, end up bringing it home with what are we doing here? Unfortunately, fellas, we are going to have to begin this show with our safeties coach and co-defensive coordinator, Colin Hitschler, leaving for Alabama for the same role. There are a lot of people out there who are saying they don't understand him taking what they call air quotes a lateral move. I do not see going to coach at Alabama as a lateral at all. Colin Hitschler is easily the best recruiter on Wisconsin staff, and so right there, that's where it's going to hurt the most. That guy opened up. He opened up doors out east that Wisconsin hasn't maybe had to that degree in some time. And at the end of the day, as a recruiter, you're a salesman, and Alabama is a superior product to go and sell that will probably continue to vault his career forward. So, tip of cap to Colin Hitschler. It's a bummer. Obviously, we're going to have to fill that vacancy. And, unfortunately, I think you're going to have to do it with somebody who can recruit at a similar level. Ryan, where's your head at right now?
I could go in 100 different directions. I think it's awesome that he went down there for his career. Obviously, he's going to get paid a lot more money because you're not going to take the same job at Alabama for the same pay. I don't think he would do that to Coach Vic after working with him. So I feel like it's always about money at the end of the day. So I'm sure he got a little bump in pay. At the end of the day, he could always come back. Personally, I don't think Kalen DeBoer is that good. You look at his resume outside of a couple good seasons with Michael Penix, who's a very good quarterback. I mean, he's just been meh. So Hitschler will probably be looking for another job in a couple of years when that whole staff gets canned, because you're never gonna you're following Saban. So best of luck to you. Nothing you do is gonna be great unless you win a title. So He might be back on the market, coming for an analyst job, a la Jim Leonard one day. So I won't say anything bad about him. He's a great recruiter. I find it a little bit interesting though out here on these Twitter streets where people are, what's Fickle doing? Or why are we losing staff? Blah blah blah. It's like, first of all, we didn't lose him to Appalachian State. We lost him to Alabama. Number two, assistants are going to move on. And number three, isn't it coincidental that he was the lead recruiter and the position coach for the 4-star safety we just got, and he's still committed? So maybe it's not just Colin Hitschler, Big Dick Fick, who's probably got a little bit of pull there.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, your best recruiter needs to ultimately be your head coach, at least in terms of being a closer. Like your assistants are the ones that on a day-to-day basis are going to be maintaining contact, building those relationships, and ultimately getting them on campus. But, I think there are probably very few scenarios where a kid is going to commit because they don't like the head coach and only like their position coach. Like your head coach, I think at the end of the day needs to be the big pull. And, I think to your point there, like, yeah, they were able to close out two that, we'll touch on. And I think that probably speaks more to their belief in Fickle overall.
The head coach,
I feel like it's the defensive coordinator too that's leaving it. Like you said, it's a position coach. So these two safety commits that just committed, right before and right after Hitchler's leaving, like they're still committing to play for a defensive scheme that is going to still be completely in place.
Well, and like you said, Dylan, it's about the head coach. Look at Alabama. When Saban retired, how many other guys were like, yeah, man, fuck this. Like I didn't sign up to play for anyone but Nick Saban. And so I think that holds true. Obviously, the position coach matters. They're usually the initial person who, recruits you. And they can be great recruiters, but I feel like it's hard to commit to a university if you're not bought into the head coach or at least your coordinator, kind of like Jay brought up. So could we lose a couple guys maybe in like the spring portal? Sure. But I think those are going to be back end guys we lose who maybe would have transferred anyway, regardless who's the coach or not. And as far as him taking the job at Alabama, why wouldn't you? Like, you only advance your career. I mean, Ryan's talking about he might be an analyst in like 3 to 5 years, it sounds like. But
not because of him, that DeBoer guy. Like, I'll let you think, not just because of him, but because of who he works for.
Fair, but they're Alabama. They got resources. What if they reload? If you make the title game and maybe lose, DeBoer's there for like 10 years or something like that. Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Let's be realistic too. Like, it's Alabama. Like, there's not a program in the country that has done more than Alabama in the last decade. Like, and if Hitchler is as good of a recruiter as he has been at Cincinnati and at Wisconsin, like, it's a whole nother world at Alabama. If he's going to be able to recruit better targets, better recruits, and if he's successful at that, he's going to be able to do whatever he wants in his career. He might be a DC in 3 years if it goes the right way. So it's
absolutely,
he'd be stupid to not take an Alabama job.
Yeah,
like
they're still going to get awesome players,
right?
And
if he was going to another Big Ten team, or something laterally, like you said, you'd be a little concerned, I think. But like, it's Alabama.
Yeah.
That's one of like maybe 3 programs. Yeah, maybe one of like 5 programs that you're like, all right, you gotta go do that. And I think probably Fickle would have told him that himself.
I would have told him, go, dude. Yeah, why would you not take that job?
Yeah, 100%. That something like that's not a personal, like, it's not a spiteful move. That's
right.
That's an opportunity you can't refuse, Colin, and you got to take it, to keep your career moving forward. And the only thing I got to say on that is I am already just sick and tired of people talking about Jim Leonard potentially filling this vacancy. Like, that's just the most outlandish thing I've ever heard. Like,
what?
Like, you're a candidate to take over like a lower Power 5 program or be an NFL defensive coordinator. Like, but why don't you return to the school that just passed you over a year ago to come be a safeties coach? Like,
Well, you could be co-DC. You could take Hitchler's old co-DC.
Yeah, co-DC. Yeah,
There you go.
and maybe we'll give you a assistant head coach too.
Surprised he's not hired yet with that kind of sales pitch.
It'd be like the equivalent to the Bucks being like, "Hey, Mike, we fucked up. You want to come back for the last half of the season?"
Right, not to get too in the weeds in that, but that shit's wild.
Bro, it's crazy.
Adrian Griffin gets fired, and they said that Doc Rivers has been consulting him over the last few months.
Yeah.
And now they're going to hire Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers.
Like, what a fucking play. That's wild.
They've had the young calf, now they're looking to get the old bull.
Yeah, looking for the old bull. Yeah, Dylan, I was the main. I mean, I didn't really think that I didn't think that Jim Leonard would come back. Never would in my wildest dreams would I have thought that. I would have loved it. Never thought that. But then you posted that article on Badger Notes about Jim Leonard, like, let's stop messing around here, like, and stop thinking that. And I took it the complete opposite way that you were saying. Maybe the door's open, maybe it's going to happen. And then I got really excited about it. So I was pretty disappointed that I read your article.
I've got so much love for Jim Leonard, and like I said, we'll always leave the light on for him, man. When he's ready to come home, we'll be happy to have him. But that day ain't today. I mean,
someday when we get Jim Leonard, Joe Thomas, JJ Watt on staff, it'll just be the best day of our lives.
All his position coaches too. They'd love to be grinders for $400K. They'd love to just grind.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might even just do it on their own. They'd probably
do it for free.
Donate to the NIL or something.
For the love of the game.
Yeah.
You think if Harbaugh gets the Los Angeles job, he might reach out to Leonard for DC? Because it sounds like Harbaugh is the guy for the Chargers.
Sounds like he's taking his DC with him.
Is he?
Sounds like
he's got his data analytics with him too. So,
I mean, yeah, you better, if he doesn't hire Connor Stallions to the fucking staff,
chief of staff,
we riot, dude.
Chief of staff.
He used to be like that Big Dom for the Eagles, just the enforcer. Give me Connor fucking Stallions out there.
I love it.
I'm still holding out hope that Matt LaFleur gives Jimmy Leonard another call, and
I highly doubt that.
I'd love to see it.
Joe Barry's coming back, dude.
I honestly think you might be right, and it makes me so sad. But I mean, Joe Barry can beat the Cowboys, so I guess he's in my book.
I ain't got much shit to talk there. Yeah.
Badgers got a void to fill at safeties coach right now, and I'm sure it will be filled this coming week. But we do have some good news here, fellas. 2 weeks ago, Badgers held their junior day visits on campus. Obviously, they have 2 of those every year. That's a huge moment to try to build relationships. Some of these recruits, and the man upstairs decided he was going to throw a fucking snowstorm our way. And so of the, roughly 13 recruits that were scheduled to be on campus, only 4 made it. However, 3 of those 4 have been closed out since then, which is it's phenomenal, but it's also incredible to be able to get these guys on the board well before official visit season, because then when you are bringing in the remaining top of the board options, you're going to be able to sprinkle in a bunch of commits, and that obviously goes a super long way. They land Cody Haddad from Ohio, high 3-star kid. I think he will probably end up as a 4-star recruit when all is said and done. He missed the majority of his junior year with a broken arm, ended up playing the last 4 games. Just days after commits to the Badgers, he picks up just a slew of offers. He gets one from Minnesota, Ohio State, Iowa, like, schools come knocking immediately. I think they all thought maybe they had more time with him, is my take on that. He didn't have a ton of film out there, but the kid's super instinctual. He is a sound tackler, hard hitter. I think he's got enough versatility. I think there's a lot to like there. And I think it obviously speaks to the staff's ability to, trust their own evaluation and then seal the deal right away, because obviously you got a school like Ohio State come knocking. You found something. So that was the first one off the board there. They ended up getting Jameer Prescott, who the staff is bringing in, not at corner. He is the highest rated prospect in the class right now, according to the composite. He's listed as a cornerback. He is coming in to play safety at Wisconsin. Do think he's probably got the versatility to play really on the boundary or at safety, either one. Tremendous athlete, really sound pickup. Obviously, that was another one where Hitschler kind of had his hands involved in that one, but so did Tressel. Like Wisconsin has got a lot of ties to the state of Ohio right now, obviously due to Fickle and his staff having been at Cincinnati. Love to see them building that pipeline. So Ohio is a hotbed for talent. I mean, say what you want. And state recruiting is incredibly important. It always will be. But the state of Wisconsin simply doesn't produce the amount of Power 5 prospects that a state like Ohio does. And so to kind of just, continue to get your footing in there and start to build that out, I think that's really impressive. Both those kids from Ohio. And then, just yesterday, Brennan Annis from Tennessee, linebacker, coming in to kind of play a hybrid spot. Just a really, really athletic kid. Another one who fits the mold of what they want to do at linebacker, can play in space well. 3 sound pickups. Right now, Wisconsin has obviously it's incredibly early. These rankings fluctuate. It's going to change 1,000 times between now and National Signing Day. But right now they have the 10th rated class in the country. They're off to a hot start.
Oops.
Big oops. Yeah. On Haddad, I mean, he's like the highest 3-star on 24/7 score that you can actually be. So like, it's so early that a lot of 3-stars right now will move to 4-stars at some point, and vice versa. Some 4-stars might even drop to 3-stars. I think he got hurt after 4 games of his junior year, so that's like you said, that's why he doesn't have a ton of film. But I just love how this staff, because they've done it in the portal and they've done it, and you can see that they're doing it in the recruiting classes. They have those 2 safety targets that they're getting early. Like the big issue with last year, we felt like we needed linebackers. What they address in the portal right away? Linebackers. When they first came in, we didn't have receivers. They went and got a bunch of receivers and quarterbacks. Well, by the time these kids get on campus, hopefully they get on campus, there'll be no Wooler, there'll be no Latu. Blaylock already left. So like, it's a safety spot, a defensive backfield that's going to be depleted by the time these guys get on campus. So adding those depth pieces and at potentially 2 4-stars, like that's just huge for the program depth. Like it's the coaching staff knows what they want, and they seem to be good at going out and getting it. And that's exciting from a fan perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're going out. These are their top of the board. These are plan A guys. Otherwise, you don't take them right now. Like you slow play them like
a year. Yeah.
These are guys that they wanted. They closed them out. They did it before official visit season. Like that's always huge. They have a lot of key pieces there. The only person who visited on the first round of junior days that is not committed from this group is Owen Strebig, the 4-star offensive tackle from Catholic Memorial. Not likely. That one might be quite a bit of a long shot, but
like you said, on these early commits too, like we saw it so much with like Mabry Mettauer this year being on campus a lot after committing and doing a lot of recruiting to get other guys in the door. Like that's why it's so big to get these early commits, because you got other guys at high level guys doing the recruiting. And I think that, I mean, like if a peer's recruiting you, that's almost better than a coaching staff recruiting you in my book. Like it's more fun to go play with guys and stuff like that. So
100%. Sure. It's also how they cut the corners too. Not that they're doing anything they shouldn't, but when you have those dead periods where you can't have coaches talk, once you start to build up your foundation of guys that have committed and you get your quarterback early and they kind of have that group chat, like you see it with a lot of the interviews with these guys, like, oh, we're on a group chat with so and so and so. So when there's those dead periods and there's those times that coaches can't contact you or can't come see you at school, all those guys that may or may not be already committed are sitting there talking to you. You're building those relationships. So it's like that kind of takes care of itself. You're basically planting the seed and then just letting everyone else water them.
Now, Dylan, you said the coaches are plan A guys. I'm more of a plan B guy myself, but that's just personal preference. I don't know shit. I don't know shit about it. All right, Jay. I don't know shit about any of these recruits. All I know is if you come to Madison when there's a foot of snow on the ground and you commit to the university, I'm gonna fuck with you because I know three of us grew up here, so like maybe we're used to it. But yeah, big dog. Those are my big dog. That should have been my big dogs of the week.
Should have been. I'm pretty good.
But like, dude, to come to Wisconsin in that shitty of a snowstorm and be like, you know what? Yeah, 4 years.
I'm gonna build a life. I'm gonna build a life here.
Yeah. When I walk outside my apartment every winter, like, why the fuck do I live in this godforsaken fucking state? And the winter's over, and it's like, oh yeah, well, I love Wisconsin, but yeah, to commit here in the winter, man, that says a lot to me. It says a lot about the coaching staff. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but or maybe I just have a bigger brain than everyone. I don't know.
Both.
I've been saying it for a long time. I think that Luke Fickell is a hell of a salesman, and he's been able to.
Well, he looks like a used car salesman, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, like some of the shine of being the new coach who's rebuilding something like that's going to wear off fairly quickly if results don't follow. And quite frankly, I think they have to do something this year. They have to show some signs of improvement to keep that momentum going forward. You know, I'm confident that they're going to put together a strong 2025 class. Like they want to, you know, be a program that's built on recruiting and developing their own. I think everyone wants to be that. You know, how realistic that is in today's college football landscape is up for debate, but they need to do something on the field this coming year, kind of keep that moving in the right direction. But I do believe in their ability to sell their vision. I mean, they're proving it over and over. Portal recruiting, like they can sell this shit, but it's going to have to translate.
But one of those things, though, that I want to kind of go back to when you're talking about Luke Fickell kind of seems like a salesman. I've met him now a handful of times, you know, humble brag. But at the end of the day, like every time I talk, like he needs nothing from me. And every time I talk to him, he seems like there's no one else and this is going to just sound like an absolute sob story. But every time I talk to this dude, it's always he shakes your hand. He looks you in the eye. Like he doesn't need to talk to me for 5 minutes about whatever we're going to talk about. But the fact he just comes off so genuine. So it's like, yes, they're selling the university. Yes, they're selling potential, but either he is Bernie Madoff level salesman or he just is that damn genuine. And I'm leaning towards genuine because he doesn't need, want anything from me. And the fact that he takes time every time I see him to say, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. When he doesn't have to me, that says genuine and not salesman.
To me, I don't know if he's Bernie Madoff or genuine. I don't care. Either works for me. Both can be successful. We've seen that. 2, I'm going to have to write a list of questions for you to ask him the next time you meet him.
I'd like to clear those before you pass it over.
Coop's going to give you a list of 25 superlatives for Luke.
What do you think about your long snapper?
Well, fellas, I think that seems like a good place to pivot over to basketball. But before we do that, we're gonna have to take a moment for the sponsor of the show, Autograph. If you want to be rewarded for listening to the podcast, you know, Badger Notes After Dark, if you're a consumer of our content at the website, the team over at Autograph, co-founded by Tom Brady, is redefining the fan experience by letting users earn points for acts of fandom that they're going to take every day anyway, like listening to the show. If you go to download the Fandom app, give you access to all your favorite Wisconsin Badgers content all in one place, while offering rewards like tickets, exclusive merchandise, opportunities to speak to players, and more. You're already listening to the show now, but I suggest going out and downloading the app and getting points start to be rewarded for it. If you head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph, Fandom Rewarded, you download it for free today using the referral code Badger Notes, all lowercase. Start collecting points. Start getting yourself something off the nice.
And I mean, I signed up when you sent the link. Use the code Badger Notes. You already get 2 trophies, so you get a little more points when you sign up. I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool things on there that you can redeem. And like you said, Dylan, it's maybe a niche thing, but there's a lot of different Badger content to consume out there. So it's kind of your one-stop shop for anything Badgers that you want to get, including us, where we get a little after dark.
And if Tom Brady touches it, like, outside of crypto, has he ever touched anything that's been a failure? Like, that dude's a winner. Anything?
Marriage.
Huh?
And
But if it's something he produced, like, you know it's going to be quality, you know it's going to be great.
Love you, Tom.
do ya?
Yeah, a couple of the other investors that you may have heard of that are also involved in autograph. A guy named Tiger Woods. Then there's this other guy named Wayne.
Do we see a pattern here?
Yeah, there's a there's a couple of reasons to this might pan out. But we got to talk some hoops here, fellas. Since the last time we talked, Wisconsin has played 2 games. They won them both. Back on track. It hadn't all been pretty. First game beat Indiana at home, 91-79. Got a lot to talk about in that one tonight. We take down Minnesota at the barn in a game that it looked bleak, quite frankly, a few different times. Beat them 61-59 in the closing seconds. I'm always down to win ugly. Jay, I want to turn it over to you. If you have any overarching takeaways from both games, one game, want to go one at a time, ball's in your court.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed out that we finally didn't score 70 points. We've been over 70 points for 2 months now, seems like. So that was tough. But yeah, the Big Ten is so tough to win on the road. This is a game, like, if they lost, we would have probably been like, this team sucks. We hate this team now. But they didn't. They won. They battled through. Like, these are the games that you need to prove that you can win, and this is just going to make them tougher in March. I mean, AJ Storr, I think, is getting a lot of heat on Twitter for bad shot selection. But, Coop, what did he have? 15 and 12, you said?
Yeah, 15 and 12.
15 and 12. So, we'll take 15 and 12 any day of the week from AJ Storr. I mean, the Badgers just continue to make free throws, which is just something that this team hasn't done in the past. I have a kind of an early what are we doing here, but I'm getting really frustrated. 2 things is I know that Badgers have a good team because it's like announcers they're like cheering for the other team every time they do something decent, because I think they just expect the Badgers to win every game. And it's like, what the hell are we doing here? Why are you guys so excited that Minnesota took a goddamn charge one time? Like, nobody cares. Like, be happy for our guys. And the other one is like, it's just getting so frustrating. These also announcers, it's like every game they're like, oh, the Badgers are uncharacteristically turning the ball over a bunch in the first half. And it's like the last 2 games they've had like 7 turnovers in the first half. Well, the Badgers average 9.9 turnovers a game. It's when they have bad half like that, they tend to only then turn the ball over 3-4 times. Like, that's why it's an average. The Badgers right now are 27th in the nation in turnovers per game. There's 350 Division I teams. So, like, why are we getting all bent out of shape when the Badgers turn the ball over 12 times? There's 250 plus teams that turn the ball over more than 13 times a game, and the Badgers do it twice in 18 games, and we're freaking out. Like, what are we doing here? Relax. Like, they're still a good team just because they turn the ball over 13 times in a win. Like, what are we doing here?
See, and I appreciate you taking the time to say that, and I'll tell you why I'm the guy who will get so frustrated about that. It's because I grew up watching Bo Ryan basketball. If you had an errant turnover, like, you're getting yanked. And like, my wife and I still watch games as if Bo Ryan is sitting on the pine, like someone throws an errant pass and we're both just like, get him out of there. Like, and I think that Greg's done a much better job about, and both ways work, obviously, but like he gives a guy a little bit of leash, lets him play through some of their mistakes. But we've just for over 20 years watched a team be elite at taking care of the basketball. And so when they get a little sloppy, it's just something we're not accustomed to seeing.
Sure. And I know, like, this game maybe wasn't the best because we didn't play super fast, but like, it's all we hear for the last 10, 20 years ever is that, oh, the Badgers just play slow brand of basketball. They just play so slow. Shout out Robbie Hummel for saying that in the Indiana game, and then we scored 91. So great job, Robbie. Pretty sick.
That's that Purdue.
But yeah, I was like, but like, people can't clamor and be like, Badgers need to play faster. Badgers need to play faster, and then be like, oh, we turned it over 3 more times than our season average. Like, what do you expect to happen? They're trying to get out in the fast break and push the ball. Yeah, it's frustrating when they make dumb bonehead passes, but I mean, that's what's going to happen if they're going to play faster and they're going to score more, which we all love when they score more. Like, you can't be mad that they turn the ball over 3 extra times.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that comes with the territory. Like, if you're going to push the pace, you're going to create more turnovers. But just a hat tip to Tyler Wall. Like, that one of his biggest deficiencies was his free throw shooting. I mean, it's well documented. And when the game's on the line, it's time for nuts and guts. You go up there and knock 2 down for the dub. Like, I can't be more happy about it. I agreed with everything Jason said, so I don't necessarily need to rehash that. But I do want to thank Minnesota, though, because without you being inept, you make my Tuesdays complete. Every time we beat your ass for the last 4 years. And we do appreciate Tyler Wall, Steven Crowell, Nolan Winter. Literally, big, tall whites is your greatest
Robinson's
export.
coming next year.
You said what?
Robinson's coming next year, too.
Your greatest export.
Big, lanky whites is your greatest export, and we thank you for it.
Did you guys see that some Gopher page tweeted after Nolan Winter's 3? Nolan Winter, did that. And he tweeted that, hate to see a Gopher Legends kid go to Wisconsin and be classy.
Yeah.
He hit a fucking 3 and blew a kiss. Like
what's wrong? Yeah.
What did he do?
In a place that he grew up, he was a ball boy. He grew
They
up
showed video of him
there.
on the court. Yeah.
Probably a pretty cool moment for him.
Yeah.
They don't make them that soft that much anymore. You got to appreciate the soft ones like that.
It was
If I was
was
good
even
enough to
Gopher
play
pages.
Division I ball, I can't imagine what egregious shit I would do on
Yeah.
that court.
Oh god,
Are
yeah.
you
That's
kidding me?
Some of the
I'd
comments
be like Marshall
Henderson.
Yep.
some of the
That was our
responses even
celebration,
from
remember?
Gopher fans though. Some of the responses even from Gopher fans though were like, "What did he do? He didn't flip the bird to the whole crowd. He didn't do anything."
Hey Jay, when you
No.
lose for 4 straight years, that's the softness that you don't callous. You just
That
get
was in the first half though. They didn't
yeah,
even
but softness
lose
knows
yet.
no time frames. You're soft.
It knows no
I
bounds.
Exactly. You're soft.
I'm a
Sorry, bud.
I'm a soft boy myself, so I should understand.
Not that
but-
soft.
One of my biggest takeaways from the game today is we only shot 10 free throws. And now the refs called it pretty even. I think Minnesota shot 13 or 14. So I have no complaints about the refs. If you're going to call it like that for both teams, fine. I love that. To me, the biggest problem is looking at the box score again. We only had 2 different players shoot free throws. And that was Tyler Wall and AJ Storr. Storr was 5 for 6, Wall was 3 for 4. I mean, so 8 for 10 overall. Not a bad day. Obviously helped us win the game.
Yeah, they were 5 for 13, so
80%.
Yeah.
Is that good? Oh, okay.
But only having 2 guys get to the line,
Yeah,
no matter what way the refs are calling, a little problematic.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think typically we get John Blackwell to the charity stripe a fair amount, and
He did not play well today. I will say that. I didn't think so.
pretty
He
ho-hum
played
game.
good on defense, I thought, but not offensively.
He didn't play a ton. Honestly, they rode the starters a ton in the
Yeah.
second half. Blackwell's a guy you'd like to see get the stripe, and not the best night for Steven Crowell, but he's one that you would also like to see make his way to the free throw line. Overall, you made 8 out of 10. That's wonderful. You'd like that. The old Bo Ryan adage, and the same one that Greg Gard follows. You'd like to make more free throws than your opponent takes, and they were in the vicinity, but yeah, I think that I thought that was probably one of the bigger differentiators as well.
And then one thing I had that you mentioned, Crowell, and I'll kind of lead into it here. We allowed 13 offensive rebounds tonight. And I feel like that's been a problem the past few games is we're getting beat inside defensively when it comes to rebounding. One of the things, though, is obviously Crowell got the 2 fouls with, I think he got a second foul 9 minutes into the first half after he had checked back in for 45 seconds after his first foul, and then did not get a foul the rest of the game. But my question to you guys, and I had this written down here, would you have taken Steven Crowell out with 2 fouls and 9 minutes left in the half if we were playing Illinois or Purdue?
For me, my answer is definitely yes, especially if we're playing Illinois or Purdue.
Yeah, you need the front court help.
Yeah, and I think I saw somebody from Badger Notes today tweet that Greg Gard plays. There's only 3 coaches in America that play guys less than Greg Gard does with 2 fouls in the first half.
Yeah.
So
And
Greg Gard doesn't do it.
I agree with all of you. Now, hypothetical, say you're playing Minnesota.
I think that we have enough depth in the front court this year to survive 9 minutes against a Minnesota. I still would lean just ride it out.
To be fair, we played better in the first half. We were up 10 at the end of the first half.
True.
So,
True.
I mean, crowd probably had a negative plus minus in the second half. So,
I mean, he just barely played in the first half. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I feel like you could really go either way with that. Like, especially against Minnesota. Okay, if he picks up a third foul, whatever. Minnesota's not bad, but it's not like we're playing the fucking cream of the crop.
It's hard for an interior for a big guy. I mean, you could Klesmit normally guards the best guy. You could see in the I don't know if it was the Indiana game or the game before that when he picked up 2 fouls in the first half. When he did come back for a little bit, he literally couldn't guard anytime somebody put their feet.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what you don't want Crowd to just be a statue out there on defense. So I think it makes sense to not play a guy and Dylan. We have the depth. Nolan Winter has been pretty good. Gilmore can give you some positive defensive minutes. They don't need Crowd to.
But to me, that's also an argument. That's also an argument to leave him in. Yeah, we have depth. If he picks up a third foul, we got guys. I don't know. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here because I agree. Take him out. I agreed with the decision, especially if we're playing a top tier team or in the tournament. I completely agree with the decision. But like I said, just devil's advocate, you could make. We have so much depth. Okay, if he gets a third foul, he gets a third fucking foul.
Yeah, I think it's also revisionist history. If you knew that you were only going to get probably 13 foul calls, then yeah, you could ride with it. But as soon as you know damn well, as soon as guard leaves him in there, he's going to pick up one on a screen and roll, just a little tic tac one, and it's he's not going to earn them. Had you known that they were going to call it, let the boys bang a little bit. Pause. I set myself up for the pause. Now I forgot. If you knew they were going to bang around a little bit, then you could probably just leave him in there. But it's always kind of like that chicken or the egg. And I agree with everybody, I think you should take him out. But you're right. If you're going to test your depth, that would have been the time to test it.
College basketball is kind of crazy. Officials are there's not a lot of consistency to how Big Ten officials call games. Even game to even half to half sometimes, possession to possession. The Badgers picked up 4 fouls on that one possession. Minnesota fouled the Badgers 4 times in a 30-second possession.
Did he see it, or did he just see him on the floor? So the announcer's calling the ref out. Did you actually see the foul, or did you just see him on the floor and you just assumed?
Right. So it's hard. We're like Ryan said, it's revisionist history. We're sitting here knowing how the outcome went. These coaches just gotta. They're going all on vibes. They don't know if these refs are going to be ticky tacky one possession or let them bang the next possession.
4 hammers. And then, just another one too. I had written down. Just I think we're all going to agree on this too. I love guard's decision to foul up 3. Almost didn't work. I mean, that's a risk you take, but that's the move every time, right? Or am I just crazy?
The funny part about that is math actually shows that there is no right answer, that it's exactly the same odds, that there is no right answer. But I feel like fouling up 3 is the move. If I was standing on the sideline, that would be my decision.
I literally did in my 5th grade game last Saturday.
Love it.
I do not care. That is the play. You're not getting tied or beat on a 3 or tied on a 3. No, you're going to go to the line, make 2, and then inbound it. We'll shoot them free throws. We'll play this little free throw game.
I love that. All right, little fellas, what we're going to do here is foul with 9 seconds left.
Oh, we'll extend that. We're playing that thing like it's NBA Finals, baby. Here we go.
Especially at the barn. Can't lose at the barn.
No.
But shout out to Locked On, because I'm becoming a big fan of those guys and Ryan, and listening to them, their quick reactions to the commitments in the game. But they were big proponents too. I think Ryan has always been a big proponent of the fouling up 3.
Always foul up 3.
He said that we're really, really happy about it. Yeah, I agree. But you got to probably tell AJ Storr, hey, when you're supposed to block out the shooter, you should not just
block out the one fucking guy we want to box out on the goddamn play.
Infuriating to watch back. Especially since it didn't end up hurting us. But like he literally just put 2 feet in the lane and never located that shooter at all.
Whoever it was from Minnesota, I don't know. Old boy had a clean look too, and he just missed the shot.
Yeah,
couldn't have drawn that up any more perfectly.
Yeah, it was a tough shot. I get it. Clock was running out, but we got fucking lucky on that one. But I still agree. No, go ahead.
I wonder why, like, because I was texting a buddy during this, like, what is the benefit? And I get why Store's down there because he can quite literally just jump higher than everybody. But, like, why wouldn't have they had Store, like, trying to rebound? Obviously they had Tyler Wall and Steven Crowell boxing out or, like, trying to box out. They had Klesmit then down there trying to help Crowell box out. And I think that guy was the guy they were boxing out was a little bit bigger, stronger. But, like, if Store was not going to box out the shooter, why is he not like going to the rim and trying to? And why is Klesmit down on the block? Why don't they bring in a bigger body or something like that? It just that kind of thing like didn't make any sense to me. I get Klesmit's like gritty and like one of our best defenders, but
6'4", 6'5".
I don't think so. I would guess he's maybe 6'3" and white and not. I mean,
he's from
He's listed at 6'4", 200. So yeah, he's probably 6'3", 190.
I just don't get why he'd be down there like trying to box out when there's
just a mental error. It probably was drawn up differently, and
they had plenty of time and a timeout, so they could have done something about it.
And speaking of Klesmit, I would be remiss if I did not talk about he started this game off shooting pretty hot from the field. He came back to earth. But if we want to rewind just for a moment back to Indiana, this man went absolutely went just fucking berserk, scored 20 straight points. Like he was on fire. Like I think that can he do this all the time? Absolutely not. But what I do think that we're beginning to see is Klesmit turning a corner into being someone that I think that we can count on for double-digit points a night. He's always been able to score. We saw it late last season. That was a team that didn't have a lot of people that could put the ball in the hoop, quite frankly. And his confidence began to take a step up. Greg's talked about it, said that Klesmit kind of had confidence issues when he first came to Wisconsin. He made a big leap in level of competition and kind of had to see where he fit. And late last year, he started to find his stride. I think he can be that guy for Wisconsin, like someone that you have taking your, shots late in the game, somebody that you can count on to be putting in 10 plus each night. He's a shot maker, and he's someone that honestly, he doesn't need a ton of shots to get into rhythm. Like he's probably, coming into this game, he led the Badgers in points per possession. Like he just takes smart shots. Like he rarely takes something where I'm like, oh, God, I wish I could have that one back. Because the only ones that I could point to the last few games are ones where he's been red fucking hot and he's got a half step on a guy, and that's all he needed. So after you've made 2 threes in a row, like you've got the green light to huck whatever you want just one time. So
yeah, he took one today in the second half where he came off a screen and kind of shot it super off balance without even getting a dribble when I thought he could have. That I didn't love kind of early in the shot clock, but when he shoots it, I'm not mad at it.
Sometimes you need the old heat check.
Yep.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I don't know why, but for whatever reason in my own head, I was like, God, whenever Klesmit shoots, I just don't feel super confident. And ever since I had that thought, like he's been absolutely insane. So credit to me for being, for having that thought and willing him to this. But yeah, Klesmit, I like you said, Dylan, that late game guy. He can get to the rim too. Like so he doesn't settle for those jump shots often. Like he has a mid range game. He can get to the rim. He has a pretty good package, underneath down by the rim. He almost had that sick. I caught it. Shit.
Go on.
He almost made that really cool reverse layup in traffic.
Yeah, he was a backwards mechanic.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get past that now. But yeah, but he just again elevates this team. I think there's a comfortability from this team knowing that they don't have to. There's not one single guy that has to be the guy every single night. Like Klesmit doesn't have to go out and get you 26 every night, but sure he can. Like Store doesn't have to get you 26 every night, but he'll go get you 15, and then Wall will get you 11 next to him. Crow will get you 10. Like they know that they don't have to carry the entire load, and I think that's why this team's been so successful early on.
I mean, even after a game like tonight where they didn't play their best offensive game, they're still sitting at 6th in Ken Palm in adjusted offensive efficiency.
Yeah.
They have so many different guys that can beat you. And a guy like Chucky Hepburn, who's so good at just controlling the pace of the game, they're able to play whatever game they want to play. If they want to play through the bigs in games, they can do that. They have the guards in Klesmit and John Blackwell in AJ Store off the wings that can do so many different things. And like to your point, like AJ Store is going to get his, but he's not somebody who he scores in bunches. They get him involved. And I think he's done a really great job of acclimating to playing this brand of basketball, because while like it doesn't always look natural at times, like you can see he's still in the process of like he is thinking through his motions a lot. And like that's why sometimes on offense, like, his pass to the wing or whatever is a half step behind, his feet in the post is half step later than you would like to. But when he is able to play freely, like he's just come so far from the beginning of the season to today, and playing off of 2 feet, right? Like, there are times where he leaves his feet and he doesn't know what he's doing. He just knows I'm going to go out athlete this dude, and I pray something good's going to happen. And oftentimes it does, but
I probably had the coolest technical foul I've ever seen.
Easily.
So sick, dude.
They shouldn't have called that on account of it just being cool as fuck. I've never seen
that. Like when Travis Kelce threw that pass to Kadarius Toney and they called it forward or whatever, or
offsides.
Illegal, offsides. Or like it was too cool for them to call back. So yeah, that's how I felt. Where are you guys at on like Chucky Hepburn in his play this year? Because I feel like I have an opinion on it, but I feel like he's just playing quite a different role this year than
he's been a good like point guard. But I mean, tonight 3 points, 1 for 6 from the field. He hit that 1-3, I think, in the first half, and that was it.
He hasn't really scored. He hasn't really scored the last few games. And
no,
some people might not love that, but I just think like
he plays good defense.
I think he's better in a role where he doesn't need to be like super dominant with the basketball, and he gets other people involved, and he's guarding hard, like
Andre Miller.
I think he's in a good role that fits his skill set pretty well right now.
Because the thing is, there's going to be one game before this season's over where I feel like Chucky's going to go for like 25.
Yeah, totally agree.
Shoot like 8 for 10 from the floor or some shit like that. And then those people are going to be like, oh, yeah, well, he can still do it if he has to. But he doesn't have to.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion this is the best ball he's played. Not necessarily like this last couple of games, but this is the best season of his career, I think, by miles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the team isn't what it is today without him playing exactly the role that he is. I think anyone who's looking just for points per game is completely missing the point. Like they're not understanding what it is he's doing for this team. The last couple of games haven't been his best. I think we all understand that, but the overall body of work is so impressive to me, and to be so selfless and like commit yourself and during the off season to rebuilding your body so that you can be quicker, so that you can play more minutes, so that you can be more efficient at the rim, so that you can push the pace, be this facilitator. Like I think that there are so many people on this team, and I think it's kind of the beauty of it that you could point to. And I think there's an argument to be made for so many different players being the most irreplaceable on the roster. Again, that's a credit to the roster construction. But I really don't think this team is capable of, reaching the heights that it is right now without him.
For sure.
No.
I agree.
And then to me, to cap off the game, like you said, we got a different guy who can do it every night. And I know Ryan kind of alluded to it earlier. Tyler Wall was fucking awesome tonight. Super aggressive. I mean, I guess looking back at the box score, like he only had 3 rebounds, but it felt like more, like one of those. It just felt like he had a couple tips or he was just being very aggressive, boxing out, especially when Minnesota was kind of beating us up inside a little bit. 4 assists, 3 blocks, 16 points, 6 for 7 from the floor. I thought Wall had an awesome game. Would love to see him hit that 3 and really shoot that with confidence. He knew as soon as it left his motherfucking hand, dude. The swagger he had on that shit. I was like, yeah, that's good.
Almost touched the ceiling too. So.
It did. But no, I loved how he played tonight and really how he's played all season.
Yeah, been a great bounce back year for Tyler. I think,
Yeah.
Another player where you can make a case for like him being able to take a step back in terms of role has been the best thing for him. Like not having to be someone that he isn't, if you rewind to last year, like you can think back to the Kansas game where Tyler ends up, I think he scores something like 27 and like he was phenomenal and looking like a slender Ethan Happ, but like that's not who he is. Like he's got some dog in him and like he can go and get you buckets and play with aggression, and he's a good low post player, but he's better when you can honestly get him out on the perimeter and let him get downhill, because he's going to be faster than almost any 4 that he has defending him. And he's just such a versatile defender. I think there's just he and Steven Crowell right now are both top 10 in the Big Ten in offensive rebounds. I just think those two have just made tremendous leaps this year. And, it's really been a luxury where a year ago that wasn't the case.
I just wish he could come back next year. Like I wish he had one more year of eligibility. We can find one somewhere, I'm sure.
A motherfucker from Miami's on year 9.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way.
Yeah. We need to get him on the fucking Aaron Kraft program, dog.
I want to see that kid's transcript. Like, please tell me you have a PhD after 9 years, brother. Because if you're still rolling out like Stetson Bennett, where it's like you don't even have a bachelor's, like, what are we doing here?
I would also be very curious. Like, if you could walk away from there without like every degree in hand, I don't know I don't even know how you do that.
Like, I think that'd be more impressive than getting every degree.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I think we've pretty much put a bow on that. I do want to just, to cap off the basketball talk here. John Blackwell did win his 3rd Big Ten Freshman of the Week. In the last 20 years, the only other Wisconsin players who have done that multiple times, pretty good company. Sam Decker, Nigel Hayes, Brad Davison. So just want to tip Captain John. He's been phenomenal this year, and honestly, can't imagine where this team would be without him. He's a freshman. He plays with poise. This kid gets to the bucket. He's not afraid of the big moment. He's a terrific free throw shooter. He's fucking shooting like 50% from 3 on the year.
Yeah.
I honestly thought his hot start from 3 was going to eventually fade, and knock on wood, it hadn't so far. So, John Blackwell, he's out here doing his thing.
All right, boys. I'm about to piss my pants. I'll be right back.
They just give it to John Blackwell or that kid from Iowa every week. They just keep taking turns. Like that kid got like 6 of them or something like that.
Yeah, he was a guy Wisconsin was after pretty hard.
Fran had an all-time whine in a press conference about that. I would think my 6-time freshman of the week would start earning some respect, a little more respect in this conference.
I don't like Fran McCaffrey. I'll leave it at that.
Same. I don't want us to get us canceled, so I'm not going to say what I really think about him.
No, without having to try to buy too much time for our, departed Coop who's out here taking a ripping a pisser. We are going to introduce a new segment, kind of a bridge to the what are we doing here. We're just going to do a couple quick hitters for our personal big dog of the week. And, this doesn't have to be sports related. Can be someone in your life that, stepped out, did something great for you, whatever it needs to be. I'm going to pass it over to you, Jay. You kick us off. Who's your big dog of the week?
I don't have a great one, but I'm going with, because it made me laugh mostly, is Greg Scruggs, our Badger coach, Greg Scruggs, just posting a GIF or just a screenshot of the Michael Jordan, and I took that personally, photo on Twitter with absolutely no context related to it. Nobody really knows why he posted it. Still there. He's not a delete guy. Somebody pissed him off, and he took it personally, and he's going to remember that, and I think it's going to benefit us in the long run. So he's my big dog of the week.
Yeah, he's about that action. I love Greg Scruggs. Like I said, he's a good Twitter follow, whether he tries to be or not. I'm here for it. Big fan. Ryan, who's your big dog of the week?
Well, it was hard to just pick one. So I got an honorable mention. So my honorable mention for the big dog of the week is Kevin Haywood, skyrocketing up those 247 rankings from like 140 something up to 50. Big dog.
That's right.
Well, here we go.
Big dog.
So you get from eating them nachos, dude?
Yeah, right. He's not saving any chips for anybody. But yeah, honorable mention, big dog of the week to Kevin Haywood. Big Kev, big dog. Here we go. But my real big dog of the week is Eric Barnett. He's a 125-pounder for the wrestling program, ranked number 4 in the country. Recently, article comes out tomorrow, BadgerNotes.com, with the updated Intermat rankings. He's up to number 3 now for his weight class. He was wrestling another ranked wrestler and literally put him down in 32 seconds. So the Big Ten is the most elite wrestling conference there is outside of no one.
Russia.
Outside of
Russia.
So he's an absolute stallion. He was my Wisconsin wrestling man of the mat. So I feel a little salty doubling up. But anytime you come out there and you wrestle another ranked wrestler for the Ohio State, and you put him on his shoulder blades in 32 seconds, and you get in and get out, no injuries, and 32 seconds of work, like big dog.
I'm gonna do an honorable mention. I'm gonna do an honorable mention. Big dog. Man for mine's gonna be Ryan for getting those credentials to Carver Hawkeye to go to Iowa and cover the Badgers wrestling. I saw a bunch of people tweeting about it. Ryan does a great job, tweeting and writing and covering the Badger wrestling team. It's a sport that not a lot of people maybe pay attention to, or sometimes can be forgotten, but it's a super fun sport to watch. And Ryan covers them in an awesome way, passionate about it. So shout out to you, Ryan. It's cool to see you, and it's exciting. Carver Hawkeye is a pretty cool arena to go to too if you haven't ever been there. So
yeah, that was a well-deserved honorable mention.
Big dog.
Let's get to work. I saw the wrestling coach for the first time in my life today. I just want to say that guy's nose is fucked up. That dude's probably broken that shit 12 times, bro. He's got that Owen Wilson nose.
I call him Body Bag Bono because he was going to go into UFC. He told this story one time on when they were doing the UFC Fight Pass when they were wrestling at Iowa State. Okay. And he was telling this story that his agent was going to have him do UFC, but like at the last second they pulled out to do some other thing. But it's like, so I just started referring to him as Body Bag Bono because he's probably like 5'3", and when you're talking about to circle back to last week, if we're talking about who you want to take in a back alley fight, and I took Ernest Willer Jr. If Chris Bono is an option, I'm taking that dude because he's about that action.
No, I fucked with him. He gave me major like Dan Campbell vibes. I was like, yeah, I can respect that guy.
Coop, who is your big dog of the week?
Well, besides Tiger Woods, shout out Tiger. That meme will live forever. I don't care. I'll be 60 years old and just big dog, and people better fucking get what I'm referring to. My big dog of the week, and I kind of claimed dibs on this in the group chat like a week ago. Max Kleisman. I mean, Kleisman, however the fuck you say it. I'm drunk.
Big dog.
Big dog. That's all I need. Yeah, that's all I need to say. Big dog. 20 points in under 5 minutes in an Indiana game. Just going bizarre. I mean, like, just watching the game. I was like, oh. I was like Tony Romo, where he's like, oh, Jim.
I don't know, Jim.
Like, that's where I felt like I was edging, like watching him play basketball. And but over it, like just on this run he's been on, over his last 5 games, shooting 63% from the floor.
Outplay.
17.8 points per game over the last 5. And he's had 5 steals over his last 5 games. And yeah, like always, been a decent perimeter or elite perimeter defender. But yeah, just this run he's been on. If we get one of these games in the tournament, we could easily make the Elite 8. If he just goes off for a random 20 points in 5 minutes, dude, that's insane. Like there's not many guys in college you see do that, even let alone the NBA. Like it reminded me of the Tracy McGrady when he scored like 18 points in 30 seconds or something like that, or like the Reggie Miller, or just kind of, not that I'm comparing him to these players, saying he's as good as them, like Steph Curry.
Same player.
On
Steph
that night, he
Curry,
was the best basketball player in the world.
yeah, Steph Curry when he was on that Davidson run, like Klesma's just all of a sudden getting hot when you don't expect it, and no matter what shot he puts up, you can't stop him. And even tonight, like he only had 11 points, but he had that little like 7-0 run by himself where he banked that 3 in. I think hit a 2 or another 3, whatever it was. But yeah, that's my big dog of the week, man. He's been awesome for the team lately, especially when a guy like, okay, you want to say AJ, we were talking about AJ Storr, like he's getting doubles and shit, but he hasn't been shooting as well from the field. He's been taking some bad shots. I'll give anyone that. That's fair. When you have a guy like Max who can give you some guard play, give you perimeter play, when someone like Chucky isn't really scoring as much, isn't shooting as much, isn't being aggressive, that's huge. And then backup big dog of the week, Dylan mentioned him, John Blackwell with his third, freshman of the week for the Big Ten, whatever the fuck they call it. But so yeah, those are my big dogs of the week. You go piss like a puppy, get off the porch.
I wasn't initially gonna come into this segment with a big dog of the week, but the more I stewed on it throughout the course of the episode, it actually came quite clear to me who mine was going to be. I want to give my first big dog of the week award to Carter Gilmore, and the reason why.
Disagree.
Same, Jay. Same.
You ain't heard my reason yet. So after Max Klesmit, put fucking gun in a blender, and he gave him that elbow to the cheek. Carter Gilmore was in there ready to fucking throw hands right away. He was there, no questions asked. He was there for his teammates. This is a person that Chucky Hepburn said during media days that this offseason, was asked who made some of the what stands out to you, who made some of the biggest gains in terms of like their physicality. He said that Carter Gilmore looks like he's fresh out of the penitentiary, his words. And tonight AJ Storr, he ends up picking up a defensive foul, a Minnesota player coming in hot, and guess what, Carter Gilmore steps in right away because they're John, and he gets right in there. He taunts them back a little bit. I'm here for Carter Gilmore. Every good team needs an enforcer. If you want to take on that role, you got 5 fouls to give. I'm here for it. I want somebody who, no questions asked, is going to have my back. I know that he's got theirs. Carter Gilmore, the last 2 games, you showed me something. You're my big dog of the week.
The offensive lineman in me loves that.
I'll accept the terms.
He pisses me off on the basketball court, man.
Leads the team in points per possession, most efficient offensive player.
I'm not like, it's not that he's bad. I've talked about this before. He just irritates me. I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, that's a big dog move right there. That is a big dog move.
I'm very pro enforcer on every team.
Also, we got one more big dog of the week. Marshawn, come on, buddy.
Marshawn's
a big dog, dude.
Marshawn, come on. Come on, buddy. You say hi? Come on.
Come on, dog. That's a bear.
Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah,
you hopped on.
Dude.
He's being camera shy.
Yeah. He's shy, unlike his dad.
Yeah.
Big
You say
dog,
hi?
Buddy.
Yeah.
Big dog.
Big dog.
An hour 4 in an episode that I thought had 35-minute potential. I think we'll flip it over here to our what are we doing here moment of the week. Coop, I'm gonna end up saving you for last. I know you've got a couple. Ryan, floor is yours.
Yeah, so I know a lot of times we kind of go more of the funny and kind of the good takes, the bad things that happen to us. But I had a what are we doing here moment when I was sitting Matt's side on Sunday. So just kind of take you on a little journey here. As I'm sitting there, this is the second duel I've covered now for Badger Notes, and I got there early, and they have Big Ten Network one carrying it, and 2 of the leading voices in Big Ten wrestling coverage and NCAA's is Shane Sparks and Tim Johnson. And they were just so nice to me, talking to me, giving me pointers, giving me advice, just being kind to me. So I'm just getting set up, and then I see Coach Fickle. So I go over there and I talk to him, and I say hi to Coach Gilliam, the chief of staff, and Tuff Borland is there. And then I'm getting back to my stuff, and I'm like, I look across because I've been following wrestling my whole life, and I look across and I'm like, is that Logan Stieber? He's a Ohio State alum. He's a 4-time Ohio State high school champion, 4-time Big Ten champion, 4-time national champion, 3-time Olympic champion. Went over there, was talking to him, like super nice, super friendly. So then to fast forward to the intermission. So how wrestling does is they'll have their first 5 matches, and then they'll have an intermission in the second 5. Now this event was the sock toss, and they had a bunch of youth teams there. So they come and donate socks to the less fortunate. So they all throw them on the mat during intermission. So try not to get hit by them. I got out of the way, and I just kind of looked back, and I didn't realize how full the stands were. And I looked back, and like that whole reserve section was full. And I kind of just had a moment for a second. I was like, what am I doing here? Look how far I've come in like such a short amount of time covering wrestling. And I feel like a lot of times, like, no, this isn't going to be about me. I promise.
No, Coop's face when you said, look how far I've come.
Oh yeah. I'm trying not to look at him. So I got a little sheet here. So I hit all my points, but I feel like a lot of times we see this in everyday life. Everybody wants to give their flowers when someone's dead. And I just wanted to give flowers real quick to Coach Fickle, Coach Longo, who I talked to before both duels, just super friendly, super kind, taking time for me. Like I said earlier, they just both seemed very genuine. Like they didn't seem like obviously they didn't want or need anything from me. So they could have just took a picture and kept it moving, and they didn't. But I also want to give credit to the whole wrestling staff. Like they've welcomed me in. Wrestling is a tough community to get in. It's very, very close knit. Like everybody knows everybody, and I'm kind of an outsider because we're covering it as our inaugural year for Badger Knows. But just wanted to give flowers to Coach Bono, Coach Reeder, Coach Gross, Jess, Berta, Leslie, and all of her staff who does all of the communications and the credentialing and the media stuff. Like putting up with this big dumb stooge because it's like I don't know where I'm supposed to sit. I don't know what questions I can ask. But she's so gracious to me. The wrestlers have all been kind on social media platforms, in person, and just giving me good feedback, seeing what works and what doesn't work. And just wanted to give them flowers. But as I was sitting there, that's where I kind of was like, what are we doing here? Like, I used to think like, oh, I come to the wrestling matches, bring my kid. But it's like now I'm sitting mat side, media credentialed, taking pictures. Like that when I said Big Dog of the Week for Eric Barnett, like he stuck that dude and let him in wrestling, when you let him look at the ceiling, we call it counting lights. So as he was letting old buddy count the lights, like I could read, like I'm like 4 or 5 feet away from him. So I'm literally watching like greatness from 4 feet away. And it's just, what am I doing here? Like, look, thank you, DG, for bringing me on and letting me cover wrestling. And then thank you to all those people I mentioned, because what are we doing here? Look, this is a great journey, man.
It's life.
That's the whole point of what we're trying to do here, man. And I'm so happy for you. It's well deserved. You've done an incredible job, and
Yeah,
it's just always been my point. Is I'm one of the dumbest motherfuckers you'll ever meet in this whole life. I that's the truth of it. But there are so many people in this world that have a voice, that know so much more about sports, or just like want to be involved and don't feel like there's a platform. But there's a platform out there. It's here. You know, we got a little community we're building here, and people are getting to do things that, you know, to get to have moments like that is pretty special. And, you know, I've got to have a couple myself over the last year or two, and I'm really, really happy you got to have that, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate it.
no, it's great. And just to back up like what Jay said earlier, Ryan, you do an awesome job. I don't even fucking like wrestling, but I read your articles just because it's you. But I think you do a great job. Like you said, it's our inaugural. It's a tough word for me, like rivalry, covering the sport. But I think you do an awesome job, and it's gotten me to at least pay attention to it. So, as someone who's, you know, a big Wisconsin fan, but not a fan of the sport, now I casually pay attention to it, and I think that says a lot about the job you do. So, awesome job, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, boys.
Coop, what do you got for us this week? I know you got 5 things.
I got a couple things.
Hold on, let me get my popcorn. This one's gonna be.
Yeah, right.
We got any more superlatives?
I hope
Got a whole
Let's
other
see if that beer was coming out.
list of 15. That would have been a while.
No.
If Coop just showed up with 15 more this week.
Thought about it, but no. Also, for as long as this podcast goes, I will be doing superlatives for every single recruiting class we get for football and basketball.
Yeah, have to.
You know,
At the end of the year, I'd like to maybe even just try to have you do it for like each sport. Like I just want to hear your irrational
Just
thoughts.
go through the roster. That would be great.
Like just live.
Let's
We'll
do
just
it.
go through the roster. I want you to just say the first thing that comes to mind.
hey, got pretty good reviews from the fans, so we'll say that. But all right, this week, what are we doing here? We got a couple quick hitters that we'll touch because it's been a while since we've done a what are we doing here. Young Thug, our brother down in Atlanta, fighting a RICO case right now. I don't think this tweet's real. I just saw it today,
Did you get got?
No, he didn't get got. But I want to hope it's real. And someone it was just a random tweet. Like I said, I doubt it's real, but it made me laugh. That they're like Young Thug landed a backflip in court today. So I spent like an hour and a half trying to find a video of him landing a backflip in court today. Couldn't do it. But I want it to be fucking real. So shout out Young Thug, free Thugga, dude. We'll see how that case goes.
I just looked it up, Coop. I can confirm that he tried to do one today.
Hell yeah.
If I find the video, I'll try to put it up, but it does appear that he attempted a backflip in court today.
I love that. I love that move. That's like John Morant fucking passing the basketball in court, dude. It's awesome.
Hey, he was backflipping for the Lord.
That's right. Truly humble. He's truly humbled under God, dog. What are we doing here? All right. My next one is one of the replies in the YouTube comments on our show last week.
Oh no!
Is that someone said they wouldn't invite me to dinner? I wouldn't be a good dinner guest after my my magnum opus last week. They're going to write about that's going to be in history books. Your kids are going to be taught about that, dude. About those superlatives. Are you kidding me? You wouldn't invite me to dinner. So one, appreciate that person for listening, but also kind of fuck you because I'm a great dinner. I'd be a great dinner guest. Dylan's known me for the longest out of anyone. I'm not the life of the party. I am the party. So,
and he's late to the party.
Yeah,
I
always
only wishes he could have you.
Dylan's learned if the party starts at 7:30, you better tell me it starts at 6:30.
Because
and I'm still gonna show up at 8 p.m. At least my friends know me by now. I always need a phone charger too, but I always make a hell of an entrance. Don't I, Dylan? I make a hell of an entrance. Or I hold babies. I do whatever it takes. I'm like a fucking politician. My next one is, I believe it was 2 or 3 weekends ago. I was down in Iowa gambling my 1.5 ass cheeks off on football. Did not go well. But just one of the things, and I couldn't remember if I brought this up on that pod, but the sports book there didn't have fucking Peacock. So what are we doing here? How does the sports book not have every single streaming option, every single option there is to watch sports? Yeah. Like I said, I couldn't remember if I brought that up or not. So I wrote it down again. But fuck the Q Casino in Dubuque, Iowa. Get fucking Peacock. And I even offered the guy to put my Peacock on the fucking TV, and he just ignored me. Fucking.
You offered him your cock, and he didn't take it? What the?
Exactly. Ryan, there's a first time for everything, you know? But, another one I had, Drew Walls. I exposed this fraud about a month ago. I did some great private investigation work. Now he's got, I don't know how many hundreds of ESPN, whether it's real or not, I don't know. But he's cheering during commercials when he's doing these TikToks like a fucking idiot. And then he's got porn stars hit on Twitter, and he
fumbled.
His reply, he had to change 3 times. He did 3 different versions of his reply. Just not a great look, but yeah, just like
no, he wasn't. I don't even think he was deleting.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Deleting.
You could see you can see the previous history.
And then I saw this meme on Twitter, like quote tweeting the picture of this porn star, like her and Drew Wall's reaction, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was like 1:45. Her, hey, you up? Me, 9:15 a.m. Hey, I just woke up. Sorry. Me, 9:16 a.m. Please tell me you're so horny. Me, 9:17 a.m. I'll pay money for it. Me, 9:18 a.m. Please. So that shit cracked me up. And then my final major, what are we doing here, is the snow plowing situation we got going on, fellas. I mean, the company who does my apartment complex, they do a pretty good job considering it's an apartment complex. But Dylan knows where I live. It's a fairly populated neighborhood, close to a fairly main road. And the only road, they plow the one main outlet road, and that's it. Because I don't know if they have, in effect, like alternate side parking, but people park on both sides of the streets. And like when someone parks on both sides of the street, like 2 cars can't go down the street at the same time. So 1, it's on the county. How the fuck do we not have alternate side parking? And 2, it's on the people. Why the fuck are you parking on both sides of the goddamn motherfucking street when we got a foot of fucking snow on the ground? And then Marshawn and I, we went out before the Badger game today for some recreational activities, and we almost got fucking stuck in the snow. And then I literally saw like 4 or 5 other fucking cars just stuck on the street or turned sideways on the fucking street because there's so much snow or so much goddamn ice. So to the city of Madison, to the county of Dane, I love you, but what the fuck are we doing here? Plow, I get I'm not that important, but just plow my goddamn road once, brother. That's all I'm asking. Plow the fucking road and make it alternate side parking. Like, they can find, these peasants can find fucking other places to park. Sorry, I'm rich and I have a fucking underground handicap parking stall. Like, dude, what are you doing here? Yeah.
Coop, I have like the same issue, but it's just my parking lot. Like the company will come and they'll plow like 1 row to the end, and then they'll like leave a bunch of snow in the middle in front of the garage. But there's only 1 lane. When we got all that snow a few weeks ago, I had like a buddy come pick me up. We were going downtown to a friend's like engagement party, and I was like, "Why are they not pulling into the building?" Because I was standing at the bottom of the door. And I had their location, and it looked like they were circling me. I had no idea why they weren't coming in. So finally, I walk outside. There's 6 cars stuck in my parking lot because there was only 1 lane to get out, and everybody was just stuck. And there was just a line of cars just waiting, and I just walked right by. Sorry, I can't help it. I got places to be. I was like, "What the fuck are we doing here? We gotta plow."
It's ridiculous, dude.
How could you not see all of the beautiful things Wisconsin has to offer and think like, I need to commit this weekend?
Yeah,
now. This is it.
They hit him with that. Baby. They hit him with that Men in Black shit. They just deleted their memory, and they're like, "You committed. You remember? You remember?"
Well, fellas, we're approaching an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know how that managed to happen.
We're setting a new record every week.
I didn't
think we even have much to talk about, but here we are.
In case the editing doesn't go well, I did have some technical difficulties at my end. So public service announcement on that. That's my fault. I will be sending a nasty email to Spectrum.
Please include that. Please send me that so I can add it to the end.
On that note, fellas, I think we're going to get out of here. We'll catch you back here next week and on Wisconsin.